Welcome, dear listener. As you settle in and close your eyes, let the quiet of the night embrace you. Tonight, we journey to the woods of the sleeping giant, where young Lyra answers a call from the forest to protect its ancient magic. With bravery in her heart and a glowing seed in her hand, she faces a darkness threatening the very soul of the woods. Let this story guide you to peaceful sleep, as the whispers of the forest lead you into a tranquil dream. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin. In a land hidden from the prying eyes of mortals, where rivers flow like silver threads through mist-laden forests, lies a place woven from the strands of ancient magic. The villagers of the nearby kingdom call it the Woods of the Sleeping Giant, a name that rolls off their tongues with equal parts reverence and fear. Few dare to speak of what lies beneath the twisted boughs of those trees, where shadows play and time seems to slow. Even fewer dare to enter, for they know that the woods are watched over by an ancient presence, a guardian who slumbers beneath the earth, waiting for the moment he is called upon once more. It is said the giant is not dead, though he has not stirred in centuries. His body lies entangled with the roots of great oaks, his skin covered in moss and lichen, his hair like the wild grasses that wave in the evening breeze. The hills, some say, are the rise of his mighty shoulders, the rivers, the grooves of his ancient hands. Only in the quietest moments, when twilight's veil settles over the land, can the villagers feel the weight of his presence. They claim to hear his deep breaths, like the sighing of the earth itself, lulling the forest into peace. The villagers have passed down tales of the giant since time out of mind, stories whispered by the fireside, told with a shiver and a glance over the shoulder. They tell of his origin, a being summoned from the stones and soil by an ancient power, tasked with protecting the magic that flows through the land. The giant had roamed freely once, his steps creating valleys and streams, his touch leaving life in its wake. But with time he grew weary and lay down to sleep, entwining his spirit with the heart of the forest. Now he lies in wait, ready to awaken only when his beloved woods stand on the edge of ruin. Most believe it to be mere legend, a fable to keep the curious away from the treacherous woods. But those who have felt the forest's magic know otherwise. There are travelers, rare and haunted, who return from the edge of the woods with tales of glowing lights that dance at dusk, of whispers in forgotten languages carried on the wind, and of footsteps that echo through the trees, though no one walks beside them. The villagers listen with wary eyes and speak of the stories, always careful to keep their distance, never straying too close to the woods for fear of waking what lies within. Yet there is an unspoken trust in the giant's slumber, a belief that his dreams keep the land fertile, the rivers clear, and the forest filled with enchantment. Parents tell their children that as long as the giant sleeps peacefully, their crops will grow, and their lives will be safe. But should he ever awaken, it will mean only one thing. The forest itself is in peril, and its guardian has been called to defend it. There is one night each year when the villagers feel the giant's presence most keenly. They call it the night of the whispering leaves, when the stars hang like lanterns over the woods, casting a strange silver glow. On this night, the forest seems to come alive, every leaf shivering as though touched by unseen fingers, and the ground humming as if the very soil holds secrets it dares not speak. Children, huddled in their beds, listen to the gentle rustling and wonder if they might hear the giant's heartbeat if they dare to listen closely enough. The forest itself holds its breath on the night of the whispering leaves, as though waiting for something. It is on this night that the villagers remember the tales of the sleeping giant most vividly, and they feel the weight of his presence pressing down upon them, ancient and timeless. The night passes with no sign, but in the hearts of the villagers, a quiet reverence lingers, a reminder that their lives are tied to the slumbering giant who watches over the forest they depend on. So, life goes on, the village nestled in its valley, the villagers ever cautious of the woods at their doorstep, and the giant resting beneath the earth, his dreams weaving the forest's magic into the world above. For now the giant sleeps, and the forest remains safe. But legends are not forgotten, and the villagers know that should the shadows ever threaten the heart of the woods, the sleeping giant will awaken, as ancient and powerful as the forest itself, and no darkness shall stand in his way. The woods of the sleeping giant are no ordinary forest. Those who have dared to venture near speak of its magic with hushed voices, as if merely recounting its mysteries could summon its enchantments. It is a place where sunlight pierces the canopy in beams of gold, illuminating moss-covered stones and fallen leaves with an otherworldly glow. But as dusk falls, the forest's true nature awakens. Shadows deepen, and a dim, ethereal light begins to pulse from within the trees, as if they harbour secrets too ancient and too sacred to be seen by the unworthy. The paths through the forest are never the same twice. Travellers who tread these trails find that the way bends and shifts, guiding them where it wills, leading some to unexpected clearings bathed in moonlight, others to the whispering streams that run through hidden hollows. It is said that the forest itself chooses who may walk its paths and who must turn back. An unspoken law guards this place. Stray from the path and you may never return. Yet there are those who cannot resist the call. Legends drift through the kingdom of shimmering, unearthly flowers that bloom only by moonlight. Petals so delicate they seem woven from starlight. There are trees that lean in close as you pass, their branches stretching out like fingers, as if to share some forgotten wisdom. Creatures, strange and beautiful, watch from the undergrowth with eyes that glow like embers. their forms half hidden, yet unmistakably aware of every movement. Even the wind carries a whisper, a sound that feels almost like words, a language no one can fully understand, yet seems somehow familiar, like the fragments of a dream just out of reach. The villagers know to respect the edges of the forest, but there are some among them who hear its call more keenly. They are the dreamers, the ones whose eyes linger on the horizon a little too long, whose minds drift to places beyond the boundaries of their everyday lives. One such girl is Lyra, a child of stardust and wonder, her heart as wild as the forest's own. She listens to the tales of the enchanted woods with eyes wide and glimmering, for she has heard whispers of her own in the night, words that dance on the edge of her understanding, words that seem to call her by name. Lyra has long yearned to step into the woods, to see for herself the wonders hidden beneath its emerald canopy. But she knows the warnings well, knows of those who have entered and never returned, their names now woven into the forest's shadows. And yet the call is strong. Each night, as the stars rise and cast their silver light over the trees, she feels an ache in her heart, a longing to be a part of something larger, something ancient and powerful. It is on one such night, as the village slumbers under a velvet sky dusted with stars, that she sees it. The faint glow emanating from the heart of the forest, as though the trees themselves were alive with a mysterious light. She watches, mesmerized, as the glow seems to pulse in time with her heartbeat, a gentle invitation, a beacon calling her to venture beyond what she has known. Against her better judgment, against the warnings echoing in her mind, Lyra steps toward the forest's edge. The air is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and she can almost taste the magic that hums within the silence. She takes a deep breath and steps forward, her heart racing with equal parts fear and wonder. The forest seems to sigh as she crosses its threshold, the trees leaning in to watch her, their branches stretching toward her like welcoming arms. The path beneath her feet twists and turns, leading her deeper into the heart of the woods. She can feel the eyes of unseen creatures upon her, a prickling awareness that sends a shiver down her spine. Yet she presses on, drawn by a force she cannot explain, a sense that she is meant to be here, that this is where she belongs. Around her, the forest seems to pulse with life, the trees rustling softly as though sharing secrets with one another, secrets that she is now a part of. As Lyra ventures deeper, she feels a change in the air, a subtle shift that fills her with a strange, quiet awe. She is no longer merely a girl wandering through the woods. She is a guest in a realm where magic is as real as the soil beneath her feet, where every leaf, every creature, every shadow is alive with purpose. The trees whisper her name, their voices gentle and low, and she can feel the weight of their ancient wisdom pressing down upon her. But even amid the beauty, there is a quiet warning. The forest watches her with a vigilance she cannot ignore, as if testing her worth, as if waiting to see if she will honor its mysteries. She knows that to betray the forest's trust is to invite its wrath, that those who come with ill intent will find only shadows and silence in return. Lyra swallows, her resolve firm, her heart steady. She will not harm this place. She is here to listen, to learn, to be a part of the enchantment that fills the air like a forgotten song. And so, as the light of the stars filters through the trees and bathes her in its gentle glow, Lyra steps forward, deeper into the enchanted forest, her heart beating in rhythm with the pulse of the woods, unaware that her journey is only beginning, and that her every step brings her closer to the heart of the mystery that lies beneath. The forest, once so filled with soft murmurs and gentle light, begins to change around Lyra as she ventures further from the familiar edges. It is subtle at first, a dimming of the glow that radiates from the trees, a hush falling over the creatures who had watched her with curious eyes. The air grows thicker, charged with a tension that makes her skin prickle as if the very earth is holding its breath. Shadows creep from beneath the trees, pooling in the hollows of the ground, stretching out like dark, grasping hands. Yet she cannot turn back. Some unseen force seems to tug her forward, deeper into the heart of the woods. The path beneath her feet narrows, winding like a serpent, twisting and looping in ways that defy logic. Lyra glances over her shoulder, but the way behind her is obscured, swallowed up by the darkening trees, as if the forest itself has sealed her path. She feels a shiver of fear, but it is muted by a strange, almost hypnotic calm that settles over her mind, a reassurance that she is exactly where she is meant to be, even if she does not understand why. Her footsteps are the only sound in the thickening silence. Even the wind seems to have stilled, leaving the air heavy and unmoving. Every now and then, Lyra catches a glimpse of movement from the corner of her eye. A flicker of light, the glint of something watching her from the shadows. But when she turns, there is nothing. Only the darkened trees standing tall and silent, their branches reaching overhead like a ceiling of twisted skeletal fingers. Then she hears it. A low, haunting hum, resonating from deep within the forest. It thrums through the ground, vibrating up through her feet, settling in her bones. The sound is both beautiful and unsettling, like a song sung by voices long forgotten, carrying a sorrow too deep to be spoken. It fills the air, wrapping around her like a shroud, guiding her steps with an insistence that feels almost like a command. Lyra follows, drawn by the song, her fear melting away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of purpose. The path leads her to a clearing, bathed in a dim silvery light. The trees around it are taller, older, their bark thick and knotted, their branches heavy with shadows. In the center of the clearing lies a pool, its surface still and dark, like a mirror reflecting the secrets of the forest. As she approaches, she sees shapes moving beneath the water, shadows that twist and coil, their forms indistinct yet somehow familiar, like half-remembered dreams. Lyra kneels beside the pool, drawn to its depths, and peers into the water. Her own reflection stares back at her, but there is something strange about it. Her eyes seem darker, her face sharper, as if the forest's magic has touched her, changing her in ways she cannot yet see. She reaches out, her fingers grazing the water's surface, and the image shatters, ripples spreading out in waves that distort her reflection. From the ripples emerges a shadow, a darkness that rises from the pool like smoke, coiling and twisting as it takes form. Lyra gasps, pulling her hand back, but the shadow does not vanish. It hangs in the air before her, a shape that is both there and not there, shifting and flickering like a candle flame in the wind. The darkness is alive, sentient, its presence heavy and cold, filling the clearing with an oppressive silence. Then the shadow speaks, a voice like the rustling of dead leaves, like the creak of ancient wood, like the hiss of wind through forgotten tombs. It is a voice filled with malice, hunger, and a promise of devastation. "Child of the woods," it whispers, its words curling around her like smoke. Why have you come to this place? Why have you disturbed the silence that holds the forest? Lyra's throat tightens, but she meets the shadow's gaze, her voice steady, though her heart pounds with fear. "I am here because the forest called to me," she replies, her words bold, yet uncertain. "I seek the heart of this place, the secrets it holds." The shadow seems to laugh, a sound that scrapes against her mind. "The heart of the forest is not yours to know," it hisses. "This place belongs to darkness, to shadows, to forces that you cannot comprehend. Turn back, child, or you will be consumed." But Lyra does not move. Something within her stirs, a defiant spark, a courage she did not know she possessed. "I am not here to harm," she says, her voice steady. "I am here to protect." The shadow recoils, its form twisting and writhing, as if her words have burned it. It hovers for a moment, its shape uncertain, then sinks back into the pool, leaving only ripples in its wake. The silence returns, thick and heavy, but Lyra feels a shift in the air, a sense that something ancient has been stirred, something that will not rest until it has seen what lies within her heart. As the shadows retreat, a low rumble echoes through the clearing, a sound that seems to come from the very earth beneath her feet. It is a sound of something vast, something powerful, stirring from a deep slumber. The ground shivers, trees tremble, and Lyra feels it, a presence ancient and immense, a being who has watched over the forest since time began. She knows, without understanding how, that the giant is beginning to awaken. The rumble grows louder, resonating through the forest with a force that seems to shake the stars themselves. Lyra stands in the clearing, her heart pounding in rhythm with the earth's tremors, watching as the ground shifts beneath her feet. Trees bow as if in reverence, their branches swaying with a strange, unearthly grace, and the very air thickens, charged with an ancient energy that prickles against her skin. She can feel it deep within her bones, a presence awakening, one older than time, one bound to the forest and its secrets. The forest seems to hold its breath. Then, with a great earth-shaking groan, the ground before her splits open, and from beneath the moss-covered earth emerges a figure so vast, so ancient, that for a moment, Lyra cannot comprehend it. Stones and roots tumble away as the giant rises, his immense form towering over the trees, casting long shadows across the forest floor. His eyes, when they open, are the color of molten amber, glowing with a fierce, otherworldly light that pierces the darkness. They fix upon Lyra, unblinking, filled with a wisdom and sorrow that she feels more than understands. The giant's gaze settles upon her, and in that moment, Lyra feels the weight of countless ages pressing down upon her. She is not merely a girl standing before a mythical guardian. She is a witness to the awakening of a force as old as the world itself. She feels small, insignificant, a single leaf in the vast, unending forest of time. Yet she also feels a strange sense of belonging, as if she has always been part of this moment, as if she was destined to stand here, to face this ancient guardian and bear the weight of his gaze. The giant takes a breath, a sound like the rustling of leaves, the shifting of mountains. His voice, when it comes, is deep and resonant, filling the clearing with a power that seems to shake the very fabric of reality. "Why have you come here, child?" he asks, his words echoing through the trees, stirring the air like a storm rolling over the land. Lyra swallows, her voice small yet steady. "I was drawn here," she says, her words trembling in the stillness. "I came because I felt the forest calling to me. I felt it was in danger." The giant studies her, his gaze piercing, as if he is searching the depths of her soul. "The forest is indeed in peril," he rumbles, his voice filled with a sorrow so deep it aches within her heart. A darkness has crept into these woods, a shadow that seeks to consume all that lies within. It is a force older than even I, a hunger that can never be satisfied. And now it stirs, threatening to awaken a ruin upon this land. Lyra feels a chill run through her, a fear unlike any she has ever known. But alongside the fear is a fierce determination, a sense of purpose that burns within her like a flame. She meets the giant's gaze, her voice stronger now. "Then let me help you. Tell me what I must do to save the forest." For a moment the giant is silent, watching her with an expression that is both sorrowful and proud. "You are brave, little one," he says softly, a note of tenderness in his ancient voice. "But this battle is not yours alone to bear. You are but a spark, a single light in the vastness of the dark. Yet even the smallest flame can drive back the shadows, if it burns with enough strength." He raises one massive hand, his fingers curling around something unseen. And as he opens his palm, a faint light begins to glow, casting a soft radiance over the clearing. Within his hand lies a tiny seed, shimmering with a strange, ethereal light, as if it holds the essence of the forest itself. "This is the heart seed," the giant says, his voice reverent. "It is a fragment of the forest's magic, a piece of its very soul. Plant it deep within the earth, where the shadows are strongest, and it will restore life to the forest, banishing the darkness that has taken root. But be warned, child, the darkness will not yield easily. It will fight with all the power it possesses." Lyra takes the seed from his hand, feeling its warmth pulsing against her skin. A steady beat, like the heartbeat of the forest itself. She nods, her resolve unshakable. "I will do whatever it takes," she says. "I will not let the darkness consume this place." The giant regards her for a long moment, his amber eyes softening, a glimmer of hope flickering within their depths. "Then go, brave one. Go and restore the light to this forest. And know that wherever you walk, my strength will be with you, guiding you, protecting you." With that, the giant begins to sink back into the earth, his massive form melding once more with the rocks and roots, his body becoming one with the land. But even as he descends, his presence remains, lingering in the air like a quiet promise, a silent strength that fills Lyra with a courage she has never known. The ground closes over him, and the forest is still once more, the silence deep and profound. But Lyra does not feel alone. She can feel the giant's spirit within her, a steady comforting presence, a reminder of the task she has been given. Clutching the heartseed close, she turns toward the path ahead, a path that leads deeper into the forest, into the shadows where the darkness waits. And as she steps forward, the forest seems to breathe around her, the trees whispering their encouragement, the earth humming with a quiet, ancient power. She is no longer merely a girl. She is a part of something greater, a bearer of hope, a flame in the darkness, and she will not stop until the forest is safe once more. Lyra moves through the shadowed forest, the heartseed pulsing with warmth in her hand, its light guiding her forward. The path is narrow and winding, leading her deeper into the heart of the darkness that has invaded the woods. Around her, the trees stand silent, their branches twisted and heavy with shadow, their leaves trembling as if caught in an unseen wind. The air grows colder with each step, and an eerie stillness settles over everything, a silence that presses down on her like a weight. But Lyra presses on, her heart steady, her mind focused on the task ahead. She can feel the presence of the giant with her, a comforting warmth that drives away the chill of the dark. His strength fills her, steadying her steps, bolstering her courage. She knows the path she must follow, for it is as if the forest itself is guiding her, the roots and stones parting beneath her feet, leading her toward the heart of the shadow that has taken root in these woods. At last, she reaches a clearing, a place where the darkness feels thickest, almost tangible, swirling in great coils that hover above the ground like mist. In the center of the clearing stands a twisted, gnarled tree, its bark blackened, its branches bare and claw-like. This is the source of the shadow, the heart of the darkness that has invaded the forest. The sight of it fills her with a chill, a sense of dread that gnaws at the edges of her mind. Yet she stands firm, the heartseed clutched tightly in her hand, its warmth a steady pulse against her skin. As she steps into the clearing, the shadow stirs, swirling and twisting, rising to form a shape. A dark, looming figure with eyes like embers, its presence heavy and oppressive. The creature regards her with a twisted smile, its voice a low, mocking whisper that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. So, the little one comes to save the forest. It sneers, its eyes narrowing. Did you think a single seed could banish me? I am older than this trees, older than the soil beneath your feet. I am the hunger that cannot be sated, the darkness that lies in every shadow. And you, little girl, are nothing. Lyra's heart hammers in her chest, but she refuses to let fear take hold. She takes a step forward, holding the heart seed before her, its light growing brighter, casting a warm glow that pushes back the shadows. You may be darkness, she says, her voice steady, but even the smallest light can banish the dark. This forest is not yours to take. It belongs to the life that grows here, to the creatures that call it home, and to the guardian who watches over it. The shadow snarls, its form rippling with fury, its voice a hiss that scrapes against her mind. Then let us see if your light can withstand the night. It growls, lunging toward her in a swirl of smoke and darkness. Lyra plants her feet, holding the heartseed high, and as the shadow closes in, she feels the presence of the giant surge within her, a strength that fills her with unbreakable resolve. The heartseed glows brighter, its light spilling out in golden waves, pushing against the shadow, driving it back. The darkness writhes and twists, trying to overwhelm her. But the light of the heartseed burns fiercely, unyielding, filling the clearing with a radiance that pierces even the deepest shadow. With a cry, Lyra presses the heartseed into the ground at the foot of the twisted tree, burying it deep within the soil. The moment the seed touches the earth, a blinding light erupts from the ground, spreading out in ripples, surging through the roots and branches of the forest. The shadows scream, a sound filled with rage and despair, as the light pierces them, tearing them apart, scattering them like mist before the dawn. The twisted tree shudders, its bark cracking, its branches splintering as the darkness within it is forced to flee. Around her, the forest comes alive, the trees standing tall, their leaves unfurling, their bark regaining its rich, earthy hue. Flowers bloom in a riot of colour, their petals glowing with a light that feels like a promise of new life, a renewal of all that the darkness had sought to destroy. And then, from the earth, the ground shifts once more. A familiar figure rises, the great form of the giant, his eyes blazing with a fierce, protective light. He stands tall and proud, his body a part of the forest itself, his roots intertwined with the trees, his strength woven into the very fabric of the land. His gaze meets Lyra's, a look of gratitude and pride, and she feels a warmth spread through her, a deep, abiding connection to this ancient being and the forest he protects. The giant raises his hand, his voice a deep, resonant rumble that echoes through the trees. The forest is safe once more. Thanks to your courage, he says, his eyes softening as he looks at her. You have restored the heart of this place, and in doing so, you have become a part of its spirit. As long as the forest stands, your light will live on within it. Lyra feels a tear slip down her cheek, a mixture of joy and sorrow filling her heart. She bows her head, her hands clasped over her heart. Thank you, she whispers, her voice choked with emotion. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. The giant nods, his form beginning to settle back into the earth, his body melding once more with the roots and soil, his presence becoming one with the forest. As he descends, the light of the heartseed pulses through the trees, filling the woods with a warmth and peace that feels like a promise, a bond that will never be broken. And as the giant returns to his slumber, the forest breathes a sigh of relief, a gentle wind whispering through the leaves, carrying Lyra's name like a song. She stands in the clearing, feeling the magic of the forest all around her, knowing that, though the giant sleeps once more, his spirit will always be there, watching, protecting, waiting. For now, the forest is safe, and Lyra knows, deep in her heart, that the sleeping giant will always be there, ready to awaken when he is needed. A silent guardian bound to the heart of the woods, and to the girl who saved it.